Hey everyone, Sky here to discuss Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Nick Stahl, Claire Danes, and Kristanna Loken, and directed by Jonathan Mostow. Now, I remember turning around 13 when this movie came out, and I'm gonna be honest, I think I might have seen a little glimpses of the first two movies, but I haven't seen them since after I saw this movie. But overall, will I like this after all these years? Let's get into it. John Connor, played by Nick Stahl, narrates how they didn't stop Judgment Day. They reset it as he doesn't have an address, and that tells me something, that they shit on James Cameron's ending in T2, and that's not only very daring, but very disrespectful, despite this is the movie where Arnold promoted heavily and became the governor of California, and he wanted this movie to be shot in Los Angeles when it was going to be filmed in Vancouver, which is in Canada. The TX, or Terminatrix, played by Kristanna Loken, is no Robert Patrick as a villain, and her first appearance goes like, "I like your car, I like your clothes, I like your gun," which is not very polite. And Arnold's first appearance is at an all-girls night out at a bar and takes a guy's clothes by making him talk to the hand, and then he goes, "Give me your clothes," and puts on his star sunglasses. Like, do they honestly think Terminators have senses of style? Which I don't think so, which was a real problem. Kate Brewster, played by Claire Danes, is a veterinarian, and some lady's cat named Hercules is sick as she shoots John with a paint gun, which was very cheap. And can I just say something about that veterinarian thing? I heard a rumor that you have to go to a school for a long time to become a veterinarian. It's just not funny. And she was like in her 30s. It might take a little bit longer. Just give her then. Moving on. She shoots John with a paint gun, which was very cheap. What's hilarious is she used to make out with John in junior high school in my Kripke's basement, and that was a laugh out loud stupid. And the TX comes in and tastes John Connor's blood and makes this face, which was super distasteful for me. And then Arnold runs the TX over as she gets up, and Arnold keeps John and Kate safe in an animal hospital truck, which, how convenient. The TX makes remote control police cars and chase John and Kate, with Arnold chasing her ass. And that action sequence that I felt was reminding me of Michael Bay shit. That's how bad the action is in this movie. And in this scene, in my opinion. And he was too busy making Bad Boys 2 at this point, which I will get to next year, by the way. We learned that Arnold is so different brand of Terminator, and John reminds him of Hasta La Vista Baby, and I thought, don't do that. And Arnold says Skynet is inevitable, and I was thinking, you've got to be fucking kidding me. I hope the new movie erases this shit. And Arnold's comeback line, "talk to the hand," was not an improvement from the last movie, and a lot of this shit makes no sense to me. The TX kills Kate's fiance Scott Peterson Mason, and the name is very confusing. Like, what is his last name? Because in the movie, they say Scott Mason, and in the credits, he's Scott Peterson. Meanwhile, Arnold takes John and Kate to a cemetery where Sarah Connor was buried, but even though she was cremated in Mexico. And after the first two movies, I was pissed off. This was actually after my first viewing, but anyways. And Kate shoots Arnold, and because he's a robot, he stopped the damn bullet, and she gets out of there, and Dr. Silverman talks briefly, which was a waste of that character, when Arnold takes the coffin and shoots the SWAT team, and Arnold and John get back because they're married, get Kate back because they're married in the future, And this is getting really stupid to the point it makes no sense. And Terminator is getting smaller and smaller at this point next week and the week after that. Will not have Arnold in it. And the suspense is gone in this series. And nothing new is happening whatsoever. Except the TX now is having a flamethrower. And I thought that was kind of neat. I did like that. Arnold tells John and Kate that Kate's father, Robert Brewster, is working with Skynet, and Arnold does a poor job with his one-note performance because he's always angry and doesn't listen to John and does what Kate says. And I thought, ugh, this is perhaps the worst Arnold performance with this fucking movie. And they go after Robert Brewster in Skynet, and all this is shitting all over the first two Terminator movies. Wait till next week. It'll get destroyed from there until maybe the new movie, I'll say. The TX disguises herself as Kate in Skynet as she takes over the robots, and Arnold, John, and Kate, the real Kate, I'll say, get to him when it's too late as Arnold shoots her and says, "She'll be back." And that's not what the definition comes in, but well, I'll get there. But they, with Robert, who's wounded, gets a red file to Crystal Peak, and Arnold and the TX fight each other, and this fight was fucking unbearable to watch. And she remotely controls Arnold, and he fights it when he's trying to kill John and Kate, turning badass. Wasn't earned for me either. The TX trying to get John and Kate is interrupted when they get to Crystal Peak, when Arnold comes in and says, "I'm back." Here's where the definition comes in. It means crashing. It means he crashed Crystal Peak. And that's when the definition kicks in. And Arnold holds the giant door open for John and Kate to get through, and the robot TX attacks and John and stops her by putting a melty thing in her mouth and melts her face off. And John and Kate can't stop Judgment Day and decides to go to war. And that was a downer of an ending, but I do like that song, The Current, that's in the credits, sung by Blue Man Group with Gavin Rossdale. In fact, I have it on my music collection, and I think it's a good song. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 3.0 out of 10. Two of the great movies dumbed down by this chapter, and Arnold does a very poor job in this movie. The plot did shit on James Cameron's happy ending, just like Alien 3 did. And that is a very disappointing way to start dumbing down a movie after James Cameron, just like what happened with Alien. I'm going to admit it, it's not a good choice. And I hope he came out there saying, this movie is disrespecting my ending. So I will be back next week with another dumbed down Terminator film, Terminator Salvation. And until next time, I'll be back.